Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey, back again with some rumors and some injury updates here on the Dallas Cowboys. And yes, we will get into Jason Garrett and Brett Maher. But first, the injury side of things, the update on Collins. He suffered a sprained MCL against the Packers. So, in the end, it's not great, but it could certainly be a lot worse. Now, Jerry Jones, ever the optimist, is optimistic that Collins will be able to play in Week 6 against the Jets. Yet this time he has not yet been ruled out. However, per ESPN's Todd Archer, there is a chance that Collins could be out until the team's Week 8 bye and come back in time for Week 9. That does make some sense. We're just going to have to monitor Collins. Is he able to practice? I doubt he practices much at all on Wednesday, if at all. Thursday, Friday going to be the more important days there for Collins, kind of like it was last week with his bad back. So as things sit right now, the Cowboys' offensive line depth chart, the interior, relatively speaking, is healthy. Sewell hasn't missed a snap this year. Travis Frederick has been back into form, has had some ups and downs. Zach Martin, not quite 100% himself. Tyron Smith, more on him in a little bit. Collins, though, we will see if he's able to go in Week 6. I would, be optimistic he's able to play, but I certainly would not assume he's going to be able to go. Brandon Knight, meanwhile, I actually thought he played fairly well, about as well as you could have hoped for. Of course, he got beat a few times, but yeah, that's an undrafted rookie getting his first playing time, his first active game in the NFL at right tackle. I thought he fared about as well as possible. So how much do you trust Brandon Knight? Let me know in the comment section. Rate it for me on a scale of 1 to 10. The Cowboys did a decent job helping Brandon Knight. The problem is you can't help both your backup left tackle and your backup right tackle. He was fine. He was serviceable. For one game against a Jets team that doesn't have much of a pass rush, I feel good enough about Brandon Knight. I don't want him out there against the Eagles. I'd like to get Collins back in time for that. But I thought he fared well enough there in the end. But let your comments flow into some 5s. See a 7, a little bit high for me. 1 means you think he's going to get destroyed. I don't think that's the case. 10 means he should be your starter. Maybe more of a 3 or a 4. He's still an undrafted rookie backup, but I can't ask for a whole lot more given the expectations there about Brandon Knight. All right, Tyron Smith next up here because there's 2 injuries to the offensive tackles for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Jerry Jones says it's looking promising. Tyron says he hopes to practice this week, and he's still going to be questionable for Week 6, coming back off of a high ankle sprain. Now, Tyron's kind of a superhuman, a giant man in fantastic shape who can run surprisingly quickly and move surprisingly well for a man his size. It is going to be something to monitor, though. So we'll see how Tyron Smith fares. Again, I'm not assuming those guys are going to play, and at least in the early portions of practices, I think you're going to see this week Tyron and Lael get some rest days in there. The bright side is you don't necessarily have to rush them back. I'd like to get them back on the field soon, but I also don't want to, risk re-injury to Tyron or Collins to play the Jets, who you should be able to win with Cam Fleming, Brandon Knight out there. Now, back for the hurry side of things here, how these guys fared against Green Bay. Look, the problems were pretty clear, right? It was the edges. That's where the pressure came from. Cam Fleming allowed 6 hurries in this one of them a sack plus a quarterback hit. Sewell had 1 pressure allowed. Frederick had 2. Zach Martin had 2. Brandon Knight and Collins both had 3 apiece. Collins actually had a sack in what, despite being an okay game overall for him, was his worst game of the year. But I do have some concerns there about the tackle position if Fleming and or I have to play long term. Fleming did not have a great showing. You give Brandon Knight a similar amount of snaps and probably ends up being more like 4 or 5 hurries. But hopefully Smith and Collins get back soon. But I also don't want to have a pure victory here and win the game against the Jets only to have Tyron and Collins end up getting injured again. So I want them back. I'm not going to rush them back, though, is my main talking point there. Today's show is brought to you guys by BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code BOYS25. It's a free $25 play. That's right. No money down. They're just going to give you $25 to bet on. You can bet on the Cowboys, bet on other NFL teams, like against the Redskins, for example, because they're a train wreck. It's just not going well. But again, chatsports.com/bet. Promo code BOYS25 gets you that free $25 play. All right, let's get mad. Brett Maher. you saw the show earlier this week. Dropped the F-bomb. I'm not going to apologize for it because I'm not sorry. Jason Garrett is giving Brett Maher the full vote of confidence. But of course Jason Garrett's going to do that, right? Like, your head coach is not going to come out and say, yeah, our kicker, that dude sucks. Or call him an idiot kicker like Peyton Manning once did. The coach is never going to do that. It's always be positive, build him up, especially for a kicker when a lot of it, frankly, is mental. That is a mental, heavily involved part of the game. The problem is that Brett Maher has regressed in his last 7 games. To open up his Cowboys career, and I did tweet this out, by the way, he was 15 of 16. Missed his first one, made 15 straight. Since then, in 17 games, that includes playoffs, by the way, Brett Maher is 19 of 29. That's 65.5%. I went back and looked. Since 2010, that includes that 2010 season, 2 kickers have had a worse field goal percentage in a season. That's about what we have here with Brett Maher. The reality is, he just sucks. We have a large sample size now, an entire season of Brett Maher simply not being good at his job. So at that point, I don't know what else to really do with Brett Maher. As I also flipped field goals attempted and made. My bad, it's 19 to 29, but you guys know what I mean there. The reality is, it's time for a new kicker. The problem is, there aren't very many good options in free agency, which, by the way, is gross incompetence and or negligence by the Cowboys front office to only bring in a kicker/punter in the offseason. They didn't add anybody. You have to cut him, plain and simple. Here are some of the options out there. What I would do is I'd bring all these guys in and more and say, you know what? Open competition. Everyone gets 10 kicks, whoever makes the most, you get the job. And you know what? You can do that every single week if the kicker misses one during the game. So some of the options here. Kai Forbath would probably be my pick historically, the best of that group. Blair Walsh. It's not great, but you're not, you know what? I need 70% right now. And that's an upgrade over Brett Maher. I think these guys can get 70% here. That's the reality. Or at least try him out. Cole Tracy, I know many of you guys like him. Problem with Cole Tracy is twofold. Number one, low angle on his kick. That's going to lead to a lot of blocks. And then probably most importantly here, for Tracy, his kickoffs. He does not have a very strong leg. Unless the Cowboys want to try and make Chris Jones do that, which they haven't shown much interest in doing. And that's kind of half the job of being an NFL kicker. Elliott Fry, another option there. Kerry Vedovic, who many of you wanted to trade for, fell apart when he got to Minnesota. So you can bring him in for a workout, but he got cut by 2 teams, which, by the way, is why even if you need a kicker, don't spend a draft pick. It's very fluky. You can find undrafted guys. Go do that this year in the draft, but I don't think you can rely on Maher anymore. That doesn't make any sense. I see some Young Quake Hu. That makes some sense on the Patriots practice squad right now. Casey Redfern didn't beat out Brett Maher. I'm not going to bring back Redfern either. So I saw it in the comment section because we had someone put it in there earlier, and I appreciate that. Type C if you want Brett Maher cut. I think that the reality is you have to find somebody else. Can you get 70% on the open market? I think you can. That's not good by any means, but Brett Maher has been a 65% field goal kicker. At that point, he's got to go. He's not doing his job well enough. You can find somebody else at that point. Now we'll get back to the news and rumors, but for those of you that like Texas or Oklahoma or live in the Dallas DFW area, we are broadcasting the Red River Celebrity Softball game live on Chat Sports on our main channel. It's going to be at Dr. Pepper Ballpark in Frisco, Texas. So come on down. Me and Harrison Graham on the call here. Watch it on YouTube and live on Facebook. Roger Clemens going to be there. Heck, the Sooners want to win real bad, and they brought in a ringer and Matt Kemp to play for them. So that should be a good one there. It's the Red River Celebrity Softball game. It'll be live on Chat Sports Thursday night. And if you're in the area, come on down to Dr. Pepper Ballpark. Come check out which should be a fun evening. All right, on now to Jason Garrett, because we're still mad about this stuff. The Cowboys will continue to claim up until the day before, if it happens, that Jason Garrett is fired, that no, Jason Garrett's not on the hot seat, which that's what they're going to say. Here's the reality, though. He's on the hot seat. Don't listen to the platitudes from Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. Jason Garrett is in the last year of his contract. By definition, he's on the hot seat. He didn't have a new deal. If the Cowboys really were like, oh yeah, we don't believe Garrett, we don't have any doubts in Garrett, we trust him completely, they'd have extended him already. They haven't done that. Therefore, he's on the hot seat. There's no other way around it there. Now, a midseason firing, barring a loss to the Jets this weekend, I don't think is likely, but make no mistake about it. Jason Garrett, 100% is on the hot seat right now. So with that in mind, our old favorite question. What should the Cowboys do with Jason Garrett? Type KG for keep him or FG for fire Jason Garrett. Let me know in the comment section. For me, look, maybe not right now, but I lean more towards firing him. Here's the reality for Jason Garrett. We've seen this for almost 10 years. Now, wait is also an acceptable answer, too. If you want to take the third not available option, that's fine. We've seen it for almost 10 years. Multiple OCs, a couple different quarterbacks, all kinds of new players on the team. The end result's always been the same. Good, but not good enough. For the Dallas Cowboys, that kind of smells more like failure then. At that point, probably need to look elsewhere. And if Garrett can't get the job done the next 2 weeks and entering the bye, they got 3 or God forbid 4 losses, yeah, you got to start thinking about, wow, is Garrett the guy at all? Should we make the change now and punt on the season? Now, we mentioned that Boys25 for promo code on BetDSI. There's also a Cowboys 121. This one gets you a 120% deposit bonus. What that means is you put down $50, they're going to give you 60 for you put down 100, they're going to give you 120. That's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120. All right, let me take a deep breath here because I'm going to get mad again. So the failing Bleacher Report comes out, and it's the biggest disappointment for every NFL team. They list Dak Prescott as the biggest disappointment. Seriously? Like, I don't understand this. Look, has Dak been flawless? No, of course not. But to say he's been the biggest disappointment and the biggest problem? I mean, come on, guys. If that's the takeaway, I don't know what games you're watching. That feels like, let's put Dak in the headline, just put Dak in the headline. Here are his numbers this year. I know, make no mistake, the interceptions are a problem. That's been an issue this year for Dak Prescott. Now, are they all his fault? No. Are there some that should have been picked off? Yes, it muddies the waters, but to put all the blame on Dak for the interceptions isn't fair there. Dak Prescott, meanwhile, top 5 in the NFL in yards, high up there, third, I believe, in the NFL in completion percentage overall, or maybe at least top 5 there. And maybe the interceptions look bad. Here are the advanced numbers for you from Dak last year to Dak this year. QBR from 55.2 to 80.6. And oh, by the way, QBR is adjusted for opponent. 80.6, by the way, that's number 1 in the NFL. His average depth of target, it's gone up by over 2 yards. If you believed in Dink and Dak, which didn't exist last year because it was about average, now he's top 5 in terms of going downfield. He's been more aggressive. His yards per attempt, 9.4, tied for best in the NFL. That's with Patrick Mahomes, by the way. Air yards to the sticks, it's positive. It's also top 7. It's tied for 6th, actually, in the NFL. His expected completion percentage above expectation, the plus-minus there, it's +8. That's 3rd in the NFL, meaning he's been more accurate than well above most NFL quarterbacks. So has Dak been perfect? No, of course not. The interceptions feel like the main problem there. But to put the blame on Dak Prescott, it just means you're not paying attention. That's all that means. It means you're just looking at the box scores and trying to hate on Dak Prescott. Now, you can have some doubts about Dak. Sure, you can point to the interceptions. That's fine. But Dak's been really good this year. I don't know what else to say. If at this point you're still saying Dak Prescott sucks, he's not a good quarterback, I don't know what else to tell you. get your eyes checked. I don't know. At that point, I don't have the words to describe and explain what is clear as day you're just not seeing right there. I don't know what to tell you. All right, guys, make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube. Get us to 50K or I will hold out come December. There was some minor freak out over this Thursday. Well, I didn't do the show because my wife's mother was in town, but I showed back up for Friday. No holdout yet. So get us 50K or I can do a show for a little bit. All right, one last quickie note here just on Tony Pollard because I saw some questions about it there. He did suffer, I guess, suffered in quotes, not even that big of a deal, some minor knee and ankle issues. I thought he's going to be fine for week 6. Maybe he'll be limited in practice. Only played 5 offensive snaps versus the Packers, but that was a comeback effort. Might as well keep Zeke out there at that point. I don't mind giving Zeke the bulk of the workload there. More than he had against the Saints, at least. Better than 2 or 3 or whatever it was. Hey, he should be fine there, but that is one to monitor going forward for the Dallas Cowboys. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.